see.
Well, welcome to the September meeting. We have some new faces here. They're not new members. We have Tiffany and Brian. They're both here. Aaron, excuse me, not Brian. Aaron. Probably didn't know you would learn. Here. I need to put this on me right here. So talk to people. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what do you want? What do you want to know?
Well, just about what you're doing right now. People don't know.
Oh, well, we both crew on the fling, so we live full time in an RV, and so we're nomads most of the year. We live down here in Surfside when we're during the fling season, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they've been entering the contest for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think
So
that
this is our first meeting, though, right?
It is. We finally made it.
I think that Tiffany has it pretty well. She's got it in control. Unless she doesn't enter for the next couple of months. All right, so let's see, who else do we have here? I have a good friend of mine that I got certified with. That would be Roberto Brunel. Talk to
Hello.
us a little bit.
Good to be here, and looking forward to coming more often. I usually join online, but I went to the HUPS contest. Enjoyed that very much this year.
Film festival.
So Dennis and I are gonna be diving soon, and within a month or so. So it'll be great to dive with you again.
Yep.
And I brought some things that I can talk about later. Some interesting lights that I just got. But anyway, that's me, Roberto.
Yeah, well, Roberto and I have a history. We got certified together back in 1990. Did you do the advanced with us? Yeah, that was where we went to Lake Travis and Canyon Lake.
Yep.
And so, yeah, and I know knew his father. We called him Bob Hope Jr. because he was like a splitting image of Bob Hope. And last time I saw him was in Cayman, and we're going to be going to Cayman on the Cayman Aggressor with the Campanellis, and that'll start right at about a month from now. Just right at a month. So has anybody been off diving? Russell?
Yes. I just got back from Cayman Brac about a month ago. Went with Oceanic Ventures. There were 21 of us. Had a good time. Actually, I prefer to go to Little Cayman, but I thought the diving Cayman Brac was really very good. I was surprised and enjoyed every minute of it. We dived for a week.
Didn't you say that there's something about the
Oh, I got a notice just the other day that stony coral disease, whatever the actual name of it is, has hit Little Cayman as of a couple of days ago. They noticed it. That's the first time they've noticed it.
Yeah.
So I did not see any of it when I was in Cayman Brac or when we went over to Little Cayman to dive. But everything looked good on the walls over there, both Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's
it was-
been many years since I've been there. Okay, we have Brian. I know that you've been diving. Talk
I
to us,
really
Brian.
appreciate the update on that. I'll be going to Cayman Brac a week from Saturday.
So yes, Dennis and I went diving on the fling this weekend, and it was a great weekend, and we were hosted by Tiffany and Alan.
Aaron.
Aaron was our dive master, and he did an awesome job. Tiffany, I actually gained weight on that, and I was real surprised. I made it to 168. Thank you so much. I'm shooting for 170, but no, it was a great dive. We did the 7 dives, did 2 on the east bank, 2 on the west bank, 1 on the rig. The current was a little strong on the rig, and it wasn't quite as clear as the last time Dennis and I were there. But we told everybody how great it was going to be on the rig. So after we got back on the boat, we told them, look, don't take this as a normal. This was
Yeah.
This was an abnormal. So don't give up on the rig.
Well, they're going to have a rig only outing on the
Yes.
fling coming up just a month. October the 10th. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's just a-
October the
month
10th,
from
and they're
now.
going to rig jump.
And you're going to do 8 dives on the rigs? 7. 5 and 2, 5 and 2,
Yeah.
and then go home.
So, but yeah, it was a great time. Dennis was, it was great. Dylan, one of our Lunar Fins members, she passed the 50 dive mark on that trip, and it was her first time to Flower Gardens. So we just did a bunch of search and destroy, looking for sharks and things.
Yeah, well, she's going to be good. She's going to be a good
She's
asset
a
for Lunar Fins.
Awesome diver. But
very
yeah, it
good.
was great. So the weather's still good out there. The food is great, and the dive master is the best.
Well, I like him because you can actually hear him.
Oh yeah, when he gives a briefing, I mean, you can hear him all the way, probably to the
All the
next
way to the
boat.
back. That's where I was. Yeah. All right. We also had another guy. Let me see your. Oh, okay, you got it. Where you been? Where you been, Scott?
So Eileen, who's online, and I were accompanying. we were just, you know, sort of in the back while you guys were, no, so we
got off the boat first.
yeah. And so but just to comment, I think both of us felt a year ago, the OVI summer trip was to Little Cayman. We both felt Little Cayman was far better than Cayman Brac. That was our feeling. But you're right, on the wall, any wall, doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
You get on the under the wall, down there, and you know things are alive still. But up above, I'm sorry, you know, we're
30 feet up.
yeah. Yeah. So, and then 2 days after I got back from that, I took off to Truck to do the deep week there. And that was absolutely stunning because that's deep week. That's not the normal. So we did Oite, Ayakoku, Amagasan, all these things that are 200 plus feet.
Oh, wow.
That's the deep week.
You went to
deep.
200?
That's,
He's on
He
gas.
came back.
and I came back.
Well, now you've been deeper than I have been.
And I can tell you some of the video from that is going to be just absolutely stunning. And the reason is because these are deep wrecks. We found human remains
Yep.
still on some of those deep wrecks, which in the shallower wrecks, I mean, you don't find any of that anymore, right? I mean, they're just all gone. But the deep ones with, you know, minimal people going down there, I mean, it's basically a deep week, which is rebreather, or like us, I mean, we're on Trimix, and then the two deco bottles. And so that was the only reason we were able to do it. But I mean, little me, seeing human remains on a boat, I'm just like, this is like cool stuff, man. Cool. A lot of people are like, no, get me out of here. No, all of us who were down there were like, show me where that is. I want to know exactly where that is. I want to see that. So it's fantastic. And you'll be seeing some.
Okay, and I hope that HUPS will be seeing it all sometime next year, maybe?
Well, no, that depends on whether I get an invite to present any of this stuff.
You just might get an invitation.
And that's fine too. Sorry, what? The deepest was about 215. So the Rex.
Dennis does that out there. 2% nitrate.
I know.
That's why.
Yeah. So basically the key though is what we were told by the DMs there. By the way, the DMs, I was incredulous at the DMs. We're talking DMs here. Those guys on the Odyssey were all cavers. You talk about someone who's anal. I mean, my bottle is tipping a little bit and it's not against me. They're like, you're not rigged up right. Ooh, you know, and so, I mean, it was really a good learning experience. But the key was they're talking about look at your total time, TTS. When it gets over an hour, you need to be like going up, because that means you have at least a half hour of deco. And for us with gas, if we're not rebreathers, if we're gas, then they don't want us to have over an hour of TTS time.
Well, the Odyssey, as far as I'm concerned, I thought that the Odyssey was one of the best experiences I've ever had on a liveaboard. I thought, yeah, I absolutely thought that their briefings they did on every dive that we went on, every boat that we went on, were just spot on. And you know, they had it right there. You could see it all. And you got down there and it was exactly what they said it was going to be.
And then that the lift on the stern. So that lift on the stern, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So you walk out on the stern, you're on this little platform, and they have a hydraulic lift. So they put your bottles on. And someone like me, I got 4 bottles on me. I can't even reach half the damn things, you know? They like put them all on, they put fins on, they step over there, into the water. It's like, man, that just saved me 10 minutes of, you know, breathing, trying to get all this stuff on. So totally, you know, not only professional, but easy.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about one of my experiences when we were on the fling this weekend. I don't know if you saw me or not when I was trying to get on the boat. You were there. Yeah, well, we had what, about 6-foot seas at the time? And that, I think 6. The one, no, it may have been 3.5, 4, but what was going on is that I got there I had all my stuff, my fins on my arm, and I was pulling myself in, and I reached for the ladder, and the ladder's, I grab it, and then it's not there. Going like this, and I grab it again, and it knocks me off again. And I finally grab it again, and it pulls me underneath the ladder. And now I'm in panic mode, and I take a breath, and all I get is water. And I take another breath, and I get another lung full of water. And so I finally grab it, and I come up, and I get onto the deck finally after my 80 years of my body doesn't work like it used to. And I spit out my mouthpiece, and my mouthpiece comes out. It had come loose from the regulator. And so now I know why I was drowning out there. It was an interesting.
You're here.
I'm here. Yeah, I survived. I really did. I covered all 4 quadrants. I know he did. Because I got up there and I just spit it out like, you know, you always do. You have your regulator in your mouth, spit it out, and it falls here. Well, it went. Boom. Thank you very much. I've had that mouthpiece for since about 1993. I think it was. Yeah, about every 2 or 3 years, I get my toothbrush off and I take all the algae off of it. They grow things that you don't want to put in your mouth, that's for sure. Okay, let's see who is out there. I know Javon. Are you there? I visited Javon and Pee Wee on the way home from the fling, and I just wanted to make sure that Pee Wee knew that we were thinking about him. Why don't you talk a little bit if you could?
Okay, the reason Pee Wee and I are not there is because Pee Wee was in the hospital for 12 days in UTMB Galveston. He has been diagnosed with esophageal cancer, stage 2. So please keep him in your prayers. I am also no longer a step down from being y'all's membership chair because I kind of got my hands full. Okay, that's all I got.
You want to talk about anything future
Oh.
on the thing?
Yeah, Pee Wee and I are getting married. We've been together 25 years and I asked him and he said yes. And Andy's gonna marry us.
On the flame.
Hopefully next month, if he feels okay.
Okay, let's see who else is out there. We have Mary. Hello, Mary. Hi there. And Joe and PJ and Eileen, Craig and Betsy. You wanted to say anything? Hi, Eileen. No, not gonna talk. Not gonna talk. PJ, got
No,
anything? Nope. Craig, Betsy, are you there? Guess not. All right, they're somewhere.
yeah, we're
Where are they?
here. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Give us, yeah, give us a status update. What's going on?
Well, I'm on deep vacation in the mountains, so you know. I'm just observing how the meeting goes so well without me there, so I'm thinking about just staying in the mountains.
It's just about talking.
Oh, no,
So-
you don't.
I gotta say, Dennis, that's a pretty disgusting story about your mouthpiece. I could have done without that, but
Okay, I will.
get you 30 years out of it, so you may as well replace it, you know?
It's still good. It's still good. I will mention that we have a bunch of equipment up here from it was Jim Babcock is no longer going to be diving. I think he's doing birding now. So he is basically given away everything you see here. 2 BCs. We've already scavenged up tripod legs and other things like that. But he has a brand new Sony A1 housing here. This is a full frame professional. And if you want to spend about $3,000 for the body to go in it, this is what you need. About $3,000 worth of housing. So anyway,
Pretty much any of the stuff that's left over, we could use it with adaptable.
okay, I think there are some things here. I know that Brian is probably.
Fins, masks, and snorkels, a couple older BCs.
Okay. So Brian, if you will police up what makes sense for either Luna Ferns to resell or for Joe to take to adaptable. And I know that you're going to make a connection with Joe sometime in the future. And then we can divide it all up, and that way Jim Babcock's legacy will go floating along.
I tried to catch you again, Joe. You're always on the road.
Yes, okay.
Jim also gave me 3 solar lights and 2 video lights, which I thought we could use for Huff as some of the stuff that we can auction off. I did not bring those with me, so, but I have them at home, so.
All right. Let's see, we got equipment problems here. There we go. There we go. Maybe, maybe not. Here, I'll just put. Okay, moving right along now. We have a couple of things. Russell, you have an announcement that you need to make, a couple of them. So I'm gonna give this to you.
Last year we were trying to, or actually for this year in May, we were trying to do a dive BVI trip that the board sanctioned, but I never could get the pricing. Well, this year I tried again after I talked to Craig, and he agreed that subject to board approval that we could do one this coming May of 2026. I did get the pricing this time, but it's going to be without lunches because that was the holdup last year, that they could never get the information to be able to come up with a full price. So what will be covered is 7-night accommodations, double occupancy in a room with air conditioning. I know Dennis,
Yeah.
first trip, some of the rooms didn't have air conditioning, but they've had them after one of the hurricanes. 5 days of diving, 3 times a day, including 2 night dives if we want it. Usually we've only done 1 night dive because that's usually what everybody wanted, and it's usually on the Rhone. Scuba gear clean and complimentary storage. And I know we all appreciated that because they actually did it right. Breakfast daily, lunch on dive days, served on board or an outer island beach restaurant. Nitrox at house mix 32%. Welcome cocktail party and dinner. That's usually when we get there, and it's top of the baths normally. Welcome gift bag, taxes, national park fees, cruising permits, fees, and fuel surcharges included. Taxi transport from the ferry dock or airport upon arrival and departure. Taxi transportation on schedule to and from the marina for breakfast and dive days. It does not include the gratuities for the dive staff, airfare, of course. And breakfast includes 1 drink per person. Any additional drinks are not included. Lunches at the out island restaurants this year are not included and will have to be paid by the guests. That's always been included before, but that was the hang up last year that why we could never get a quote. The cost is $2,300 per diver, double occupancy. Single supplement is $700. $1,200 for a non-diver double occupancy. And it will be at Guadalupe Estates like we've had before, which I've stayed there many times before we ever started trips down there, and I've stayed there since we've been there. I think it's a good trip. It's limited to 15 people. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it filled up as quickly as possible so I can give them information that we are going to do it. The dates are going to be either, I think it's the 16th. I don't have my calendar.
16th to the 23rd or the 23rd through the 30th.
Yeah.
Of May.
It's probably going to be the 23rd through the 30th, but you know, it just depends. I want to see how many people want to go first before we commit to that. So
what would you think would be the number before it would not make, or it
has
would
to
make?
be at least 10 people.
At least 10?
At least
Okay.
10.
Well, we'll have to put a
Yeah.
little court press on it.
Right.
then.
Well, last year before it even got canceled, I had 17 people that wanted to go,
Wow.
and I said only 15 were going, and then it got canceled. So
Okay. Now, what do we know about Bonaire this year?
when I talked to Trish last meeting, she only had 4 people that were going.
There's 4 of us going. I'm
The
going.
windows closed on there.
Yeah, but there's only 4 going, I think.
Only 4 going.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So only 4. That's okay. It's a good trip. Okay. Well,
I mean,
cool.
we could go with less people to BVI, but then we would not get the cost that I just quoted. Right. Right. So
Said that
That's
was
what I'm hoping.
2,300.
$2,300, single supplement 700. If it's a non-diver, it's 1,200. Okay.
And then,
Give me the information and I'll bring it.
Sure.
Next week.
Okay. Yeah.
you want to start off with our gadget of the month?
Okay. Gadget of the month. Last month, I told everybody about this washout hose, and I know a couple of people already had it. I didn't have the gadget. We had a picture of it, but I do have the gadget now. Didn't you want to hold that up?
Yeah, I might even take it out of
You
its
can take it out of
little baggie here.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet. But it's to wash out your
So-
BC. And
All right, here we go.
you just take a garden hose, screw it into one end, the other end goes into your BC, and you turn the water on, it fills it up, and it's a whole lot easier than trying to do it the way we usually do it. You're right.
And what's
As
it,
David's showing.
and what's it cost?
I think it's like $12.
$12.
Amazon. They sell it through several places, but Amazon would get it to me. Yeah, readily available. It's called, what it's called is XS Scuba BC washout hose.
If you have an air too on a beach.
Wherever you want to be. Just come a little closer. Okay. You ready? Okay, my buddy, old buddy from long time ago, Roberto Brunel, is going to give us our next gadget of the month. It's not exactly a gadget, but it kind of follows in there. You're on.
Thank you. Yes, I am upgrading my, I stopped diving for a long time, kids and so on, only went diving occasionally. So I'm upgrading from a motor marine to film camera. So I've been buying lights and I've been buying a GoPro and all kinds of things so I can get back into it. But I recently bought this brand and showed it to Dennis, and he said, you know, that's a lot of lumens for that much money. So you could go ahead.
Next one.
I can quickly just talk about the brand. These are Leton Power, and they make all kinds of things.
Sure.
And I can tell you about the light that so that one is open. Watch out, it comes out. This one. There we go. So it's pretty cool. It's about $100. I believe it's 8,000 lumens, and it's the batteries are removable. You can replace the batteries.
8,000 lumens?
I believe so.
8,000,
If you-
what I remember, yeah.
if you can go, and that company from 2014, and diving flashlights and closures of all kinds. Yeah, if you can go to the next slide, that's an example of some of the things that thank you, that they make. $19 for that.
Right.
And next slide. Like I was mentioning, you can change the colors, make it flash and so on. Next slide, please. Like 120 degrees, 100 meters. It's a 13,500 milliamp hours for the batteries. Give you an idea of the power. Next slide. The dimensions, and like I say, I have one here if anybody wants to look at it, play with it. Next slide, please. Pretty easy.
How long does
there.
it take to charge the batteries?
I charged it the other day, and I couldn't tell you I went to bed, but I can find out. It says it's and essentially what you do is you remove this battery pack, and there's a little USB right there.
Oh,
It's
it has a
easy.
USB port to it,
Yeah,
a USB-C.
USB-C.
Okay, so you can charge all three of them with just a USB-C port. I mean, that's pretty convenient.
Yeah, so it's nice. And next slide, please. So those are the links to the we're not gonna go through them, but if you want the presentation, just let Dennis know and I emailed it to you.
Yeah, if you would, I'm gonna probably send it to Betsy so she can put it into the newsletter. I think
Yeah.
that would be a good thing to have.
And I also added, there's a whole bunch of slides after this one with everything they make in terms of lights and the prices. So you could like quickly page, and if you're interested in something, you can go check it out. There was one that has I thought I saw 18,000 or 13,000 maybe.
13,000.
If you keep going. There was one, they might be claiming that. And I think 6,000, 4,000, 11,000. Okay, so I'm
11,000.
sorry, it was 11,000. Okay. So anyway, those are the lights. I also bought just a light.
You want to stop sharing?
And if you want to look at the just the quality of it, or that's just
Okay.
a diving light that I also got.
That's
Okay.
the hand light, right?
Yeah, just a hand light.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just twist it
Twist it, okay.
and
Doesn't
to
seem
the
to
left.
be,
to the
left.
and then you can press it. There you go.
okay,
Yeah.
there,
So,
pretty good sized light.
yeah, one
Right.
other nice thing, it doesn't have a spring, so there's no pressure on things that would eventually wear out. I thought they were pretty cool. Let's see when I get them wet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any more announcements? David? Yes.
Okay. We're gonna have a composition workshop November 15th hopefully here. They changed the reservations system here, so we won't know until 45 days prior whether or not we're going to get the spot. But if we are not able to have it here on November 15th, then we'll just do it via Zoom. But again, underwater composition, November 15th. Put it on your calendars.
Are you the presenter?
I guess I'm the presenter.
Will we have a guest appearance? By Mr. Potato
Mr.
Head?
Potato Head, make a small showing. Yeah, I think I do have some composition pictures of Mr. Potato Head as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think while you're still up, David, I'm going to give you an introduction, first of all. Since I know you from back before HUPS, David and I knew each other from work, actually. That was back in the days when he was working for Micro Motion and I was working for Axo Nobel, and he would come over selling motions or flow meters, basically, based on their technology. And I found out that his company had a ski lodge up in Keystone. And I said, well, that sounds really interesting, because I was trying to get some of the people that I worked with to go skiing with us. And I asked David, I says, you think that's available to people from, could go out there and use it for free? And he said, yeah. And so I think we took 6 people up there and had a great time. So that's how I know David from the long time. And then I guess we probably met at Sea Space.
I saw your name on the list at Sea Space because you joined, and I was like, this is Davenport.
Well, I don't know if I was a diver when we met or not, but I got there as soon as I could. Anyway, we started off competing against each other in novice. And I think you beat me there by a year. And then I got back into, I finally won. And he was, by that time, I think Frank had kicked him up into to being the president for a couple of years. And I got the job of vice president, which I still have. Yeah. And then 2 years later, 2 years later, David said, hell no, I'm not doing this anymore. It's your turn. And so I took over for a while. And David is going to be talking to us tonight. And David, I'm going to let you have it.
Martin, you have my PowerPoint.
I'll go take the.
So that was a good old days in the HUPS photo contest when we were competing with slides. And we just had novice and advanced categories. Little different than today with the digital entries. So tonight I'm going to talk about Bali. I've been in Indonesia, I think 8 trips. 7 of those I spent time in Bali. I've done 3 specific trips just to dive Bali. And so I've done a fair number of dives around Bali in a couple different spots. And so I was going to share a little bit with that. I just went in March, April with a longtime friend, dive buddy. We had gone in 2002 to Bali, and we'd done a number of trips since then, but we were planning an Indo-Pacific trip for this year. And so I said, you want to go to the Philippines and do like Malapascua, the thresher sharks? I thought for sure he would say yes. And then I said, or Bali. And he goes, oh, I'd like to go back to Bali. So I'm like, okay. So that's what we did. Go ahead and hit the next slide. I don't even remember what we got next. Okay. So just a little refresher here. Indonesia, where it is. Basically south of the Philippines, north of Australia. Go ahead, next slide. This is my buddy Paul showing that it's a long way from Houston. This is a picture from slide film back in 2002 when we did that trip. Next. But Indonesia, for those that don't know, is a country of 14,000 islands. That's a lot of islands. I have a lot of my friends and family say, why are you going to Indonesia again? It's like, there's 14,000 islands. I haven't seen them all. So there's a lot to see there. Bali, as you can see, is pretty much in the middle of Indonesia from east to west. Next. And just for a little comparison, this is Indonesia superimposed on the US. And as you can see, Indonesia from east to west is actually larger, wider, whatever you want to call it, than in the United States mainland. Yeah, so it covers a big area. Next. So some basics about Bali itself. Bali is 95 miles east to west, 70 miles north to south, and that's kind of similar to the Houston metropolitan area, just for reference. Population is 4.5 million. The population of Indonesia as a whole is 283 million. Indonesia is a very large country. Mainly Java, very densely populated, Jakarta. Most of the population on Bali is concentrated in the south. So you get to different parts of the island. It's very remote, farmland and things like that. But the south is very, very crowded. So a lot of people go to Bali on vacation and they only stay in the south the whole time. That's all they see. Never would I want to do that personally. Menegong, the highest point on the island, is right around almost 10,000 feet. And you'll see that later in the presentation. Rainy season. It can be very, very rainy during rainy season. So it runs from October to April, with December and through March being the wettest. Next. So Bali's population is 86% Hindu. As a whole, Indonesia is a Muslim country. Bali is an island of Hindu. And the Balinese Hinduism is a mixture of Hinduism, Buddhism, and animist customs. So if you don't know what animist is, I kind of had to look that up myself to be sure. It's basically the belief that every object, every plant, every animal has some sort of spirit to it. Okay, so it's kind of a cool way to look at things, I think. Religion is really visible everywhere in Bali. I mean, there's literally temples everywhere, estimated over 10,000 temples in Bali. But most all the family compounds, little houses, they all have their own temples. There's literally everywhere. And there's always a ceremony or a procession of people going down the street all dressed up, maybe carrying offerings on their heads and things like that. So it's a very interesting place to visit and witness and photograph. Next, please. Well, just a couple photos here for examples. You got one of the temples, a couple girls at a temple ceremony. They have rice on their forehead and on their necks there. And then you get little offerings like on the lower right there. You'll see these things literally everywhere. All the little shops put them out in front of their shops, or a little woven basket like from palm leaves. And they'll have maybe some flowers, maybe a little piece of fruit, maybe a little rice, sometimes a candy or something like that in there. And they're offerings. And these things are put out multiple times during the day. Next, please. Bali is really, really just an overwhelming place to go if you're interested in the arts. Any kind of carvings, wood and stone carvings, paintings, batik, which is a way of dyeing fabrics, different kind of handicrafts, and also dance performances. These are all things you really need to take in and see when you're in Bali. The other, next please, the other good thing is that you can buy a lot of these carvings and handicrafts and carry them home or have them shipped home. I think 3 or 4 different trips I've shipped stuff home, including my old house that we sold a couple years ago. All the doors in my house were made in Bali, reclaimed teak. So, I mean, the price to get them made in Bali and shipped to the US was cheaper than getting custom wood doors made here. Substantially cheaper, and they were a lot cooler, in my opinion. But anyways, the craftsmanship there is really next level. And it's a place where you go, you're not buying souvenirs that are actually made in China. A lot of places you go, that's what it is, They're made by craftsmen there in Bali, and it's something you really should take advantage of and try to buy some of those things to bring back. Next, please. Dance performances. I've been to quite a few. I did not go to one this last trip. Kind of regretted not seeing one, but they're a lot of fun. Very interesting to see. This is the Kichak dance. You see the guys in the background shaking their hands. They're the monkey warriors. It's a really fun dance to experience. All the monkey warrior guys are chanting and stuff. It's very interesting to see. Next, please. Another thing I like about Bali is the food. It's kind of unique food flavors, but I say it's kind of somewhere between like Vietnamese and Thai, similar to those Southeast Asian kind of cuisines, but very tasty, very flavorful, can be spicy, and also can be very inexpensive. You know, like these two plates on the left were from restaurants in Ahmed. I'm probably sitting with my feet in the sand on the beach in both of those restaurants. And those plates of food were like, you know, $4 or something, you know, really cheap. So it's quite a bargain. Next, please. Oh, spas, another thing I like about Bali. There are over 400 spas in Bali. I had to look this up. I'm surprised there's not more than that. They're literally everywhere. It's really a great way to get rid of jet lag. You fly in the evening, make your morning appointment for the spa and go for a couple hours, and you feel a lot better. Really inexpensive spas there. We were there over my birthday, and so my friends took me for my birthday to the Ubud traditional spa, which is like one of the more highly rated spas in Ubud. And I had the royal treatment. So they had 2 masseuses working on me for an hour. And it's $30. And this is probably like I said, one of the most highly rated spas in Ubud. Next, please. So really, really a good deal. This is our friend, this lady on the left, Yao. She was an exchange student my family hosted back in 2006. So she was from Beijing, and she lived with us for a year and went to high school here in Houston area. And then ended up going to college in Denver and going on to get her MBA. So she would always come to our house for the holidays when she didn't go back to China. And then she ended up working for Cigna Healthcare in Austin, so for a number of years. So she'd always come to our house for all the holidays. So we consider her my 4th child. But she lives in Singapore now, so she goes to Bali fairly regularly because it's a 2.5-hour flight, you know, relatively inexpensive. And so I told her we were going to be in Bali, so she came and met us for a long weekend, which included my birthday. So she treated me to the spa. Anyways, this is at the entrance to the Ubud traditional spa treatment rooms on the left, and on the right is the waiting area. Next, please. And then the spa we spent quite a bit of time at in Ahmed, where we were diving, was this place. And this is kind of the entrance on the left with the statue. And on the right, that's the entrance to one of the treatment rooms. But very nice place. The hour massages at this joint were $9 to $12, depending on how hard a pressure you wanted and stuff like that. So there's no reason not to go to the spa every day, okay? And we did pretty much. Next, please. Okay, so Bali has a lot going for it, but it is not paradise, okay? There's a huge problem with plastic pollution. I mean, it's very sad and terrible. I think traditionally, the way the Balinese would dispose of trash, they would throw it in a river ravine or a dry ravine or something like that. You know, was our organic stuff, you know, 50 years ago or something, it wasn't that big a deal. But now that everything is plastic, it's a huge issue. I'm hoping they're getting a handle on that. But if you look in the river valleys and the little streams and stuff, there's just so much plastic crap. It's terrible. There is quite a bit of too many tourists there nowadays, and a lot of traffic. The first time I went to Bali, like I said, was 2000, actually, when I went to Wakatobi, back when you used to have to take the boat to get to Wakatobi. And the traffic now compared to then is
You're
crazy difference.
totally right.
It's so crowded. And now it's the whole Instagram thing. Anything that's popular on Instagram, there'll be 1 million people on scooters trying to get there. And I looked up the stat, how many scooters are in Bali, and the estimate was over 4 million. So almost as many scooters as people, because there's so many are rentals there. But everybody drives scooters now. And then the other issue is Bali belly, which is kind of like Montezuma's revenge, if you know that from Mexico, you know, traveler's diarrhea. It is an issue there. Not luckily, I've never really had a big problem. My buddy Paul, this trip, you know, one of the first nights we were at the diving area, it hit him and he was feeling it for a couple of days, but he did not miss a single dive. I'll give him that. But he was going to the bathroom right before and right after every dive. Next, this is Paul getting his antibiotics at the pharmacy. He was very happy. Next. Okay. So mainly talking about diving. So we're going to do that now. How many people have been to Bali? How many actually dove on Bali? Okay, good. A few anyhow. The whole point of this is to tell you all that tonight that Bali is a worthwhile destination for diving, not just a passing through area. many people visit Bali en route to Komodo or Raja Ampat or wherever. But in my opinion, Bali is definitely a worthwhile stop to dive. This map shows a lot of different diving areas. You see up in the top left there is Majangan Island and Pumuturan areas and Secret Bay. I've done those areas a couple different trips. We'll talk about that some. And then over on the top right side, you got Talamban, and then below that a little bit, you got Ahmed, and that's where I went on this last trip. So we'll talk about that. And then you go on down the coast, and you have like Padang Bai and Chanidasa. I have not been to those areas, so I won't talk about them too much. And then on down that little island out there, Nusa Penida, is also a very popular diving area, which I have not dived. Next time I plan on going there, but I will talk about that a little bit just because it has some different offerings than any of the other places around Bali. Next. All right. Those are just the ones I'm going to talk about. Next. Okay. So I mentioned that, I went this year to 2025. This is me, my buddy, Paul, who I've known since 1986. And then Yao, or her American name is Nancy, who was our exchange student. She was with us probably like 4 days. And then next, and this is Paul and myself back in 2002. I look a little younger, but same kind of deal. This is waiting for our breakfast, I think, at our hotel in Talamban back then. Next, please, Martin. Okay, so we're going to talk about Talamban a bit. Talamban has several wrecks, one major wreck and some small wreck, muck diving, coral gardens, and a wall. Just as far as I know, there's only one wall there. It's called the drop-off. But most people go there because of the Liberty, USAT Liberty wreck. I had to look up what USAT meant, U.S. Army Transport. So it was torpedoed in 1942, and they struggled to try to get it into a port in Bali, but they couldn't make it. So they kind of beached it right there and ended up right on the beach in Talamban. It's 411 feet long. It currently sits at a depth of 15 feet to 100 feet. So the shallowest portions are around 15, 20 feet. It was pushed off the beach into the water in 1963 by an earthquake. Okay. And so now it rests maybe about 100 feet from shore. So it's, easily accessed shore dive, and it's very, very popular. Maybe the most popular dive in Bali. I don't know, one of them for sure. So it can get crowded. Next, please. So you can hit one more next and see if it plays. Okay, so the beach in Talamban is not very sandy. It's all rock. Okay, so you have to walk down this rock. And next slide. The other problem is it continues underwater. Go ahead, hit it again. So you are walking this stuff, not really good if you have bad ankles. Okay. I did not get any video or pictures of the tank porters, but there's like a tank cartel in Ahmed and in Talamban particularly, where the local villagers carry your tanks. Okay, you're not allowed to carry your tank from the truck to the beach or something. Okay, they come and they pick them up and they get paid a little bit, but this is how they make money for the village. And they've been doing that forever, as far as I know. And it's amazing because you'll see these little ladies carrying like 2 sets of scuba gear on their heads, walking down these rocks. Okay, I feel really guilty letting people carry my stuff, but that's just the way it is. So most of the dives weren't too bad getting in and out. There was one particular dive called Macro Point, and the last 4 feet or so out of the water was quite steep. And it was these little polished black rocks, really slippery. And so you're walking and you're trying to get up this little 4-foot embankment, and you're just making no progress going up. And with your scuba gear on and carrying a big camera and everything, is very challenging getting up at that dive site. And the night dive, we did 2 dives there. One in the day and one at night. And on the night dive, I handed my camera to my buddy or the dive guide, I can't remember which. And then I walked up with my tank and took it off, put it on the ground, and then walked back and got my camera because I wasn't going to make it out with everything at once because it was really hard climbing up those rocks. They're so slippery. Next, please. So Ahmed, just probably 20 minutes down the road, and we actually stayed in Ahmed. Has a couple small wrecks, nothing as big as the Liberty wreck, much smaller. A lot of muck dives, some coral gardens, and also one wall. Okay, they just have one little drop off. I don't think the dive sites in Ahmed are quite as crowded as Talamban. Talamban, like the wreck in the morning is a very, very crowded spot because many people come from the south, Sanur and places like that to dive it. There's also a lot more variety in hotels and restaurants in Ahmed than in Talamban. So if you have non-diving friends or whatever, that may be a better option to stay in Ahmed. And we did a lot of our dives. I would say 75% of our dives we did in Talamban. So we just rode in the back of a little truck over there. Next, please. So I mentioned Mount Agung earlier, which is right at about 10,000 feet. In Ahmed or Talamban, anywhere you are, you can pretty much always see it looming over the horizon there. It's a cool sight to see. Next, please. So in 2016, yeah, we were in Sydney, Australia for my wife's cousin's wedding. And so since I was already across the Pacific, I figured why not go to Bali, right? So after the wedding, everything, we did our time in Australia. My wife had to go back for a work commitment, and my son was 15 at the time. And he's like, I want to go back and play with my friends. It's the summer break. So my wife flew back, but my two daughters, in case you're curious, they are adopted from China. And then my wife's cousin, Daisuke Suzuki, the four of us went from Sydney to Bali and spent, I don't know, 10 days or so in Bali. And on this trip, we dove up by Majangan Island, Pemuturan area.
Mhm.
And I chose that because my girls are newer divers, and it's relatively easy diving, not much current, clear water. And they would get really bored doing muck dives and stuff like that. So that's why I chose to take them up, do Majangan. Next, please. And we stayed in Pemuturan at this hotel, Adiasri, and it was a nice place, right on the beach. That side of Bali is a little drier climate, so the terrain is a little different looking. It's not that lush tropical rainforesty kind of look. It's a little more arid. Next, please. And then we also on that trip did some time at Ubud. Ubud is a central, but it's kind of the arts and cultural capital of Bali. It's inland a bit. But we spent some time there also, a few nights, to do some touring and sightseeing and such. Next. So in Majangan Island and Pemuturan areas, Majangan Island, it's probably a 20-minute boat ride, 30-minute boat ride from Pemuturan. And it offers shallow core gardens on the top and then drift wall dives. And it has sheer walls, and usually good visibility. At times of the year when other places, like rainy season, the other places may have reduced visibility, Majangan is still offering particular water. Pemuturan has offshore reefs, muck diving, and what they call bio-rock reefs. If you're not familiar with bio-rock reefs, they basically take like steel, like rebar, and they make structures out of it, and then they put an electric current on it, and it helps the coral grow really, really fast, like maybe 10 times faster than normal speed. And so there's a lot of artificial reefs made of this bio-rock stuff in the Bay Area there. And then also, if you're really a muck diving junkie, there's Secret Bay and PJ or Puri Jati that are about 30 minutes drives in a car from Pemuturan. And they're all shore dives at those two locations. I did dive Secret Bay back in 2002 when Paul and I went the first time. Saw a lot of stuff there. And I think they're both can kind of be on and off. It seems like they kind of get popular for a while, then something will happen and there's not much activity there, so they stop diving it. And I've read that like Puri Jati, which I've never dove, it'll be hot, and then some fishermen will come through there dragging their nets and just take everything away, basically, and then it'll be, pretty desolate for quite some time to recover. Next, please. So this is a close-up of West Bali. On the far left there, you see Java. Java, I think, is only like 4 miles away from Bali. And this little town, Gili Manuk, is where the ferry goes over to Java, so you can take your car over there. And then Majangan Island is right here at the top left. But most of the hotels in the area are in Pemuturan, more in the center there on the top. And so you'll drive on a boat from Pemutra out to Majangan Island. And then Secret Bay muck diving is here on the left there with the blue arrow. And then Puri Jati, the other muck diving site, is with the blue arrow on the far right. Just to give you an idea how that's laid out. Next, please. So, and again, Nusa Penida is the island off the southeast coast of Bali, which I have not been to. Dennis is shaking his head. I think Dennis dove there.
Yeah, I've been there twice.
He's been twice. You want to say
Yeah.
anything about it, Dennis?
Yeah, I'll talk a
You have a
little bit about
microphone.
it. I went there with my wife back in, I guess it was 95 or something like that. I hadn't been certified very long, and I decided I wanted to go diving. I didn't have any of my equipment with me, but I had a little camera. It was a Panamex camera, piece of crap, basically, but okay, I had it with me. And nobody would go with me. I went out to a dive shop and I said, well, I want to go anyway. And so I went out and I got the whole boat myself. And they took us across to Nusa Penida and Lembangan, which is a parallel island just to the west off of the coast of Nusa Penida. And we're in this outrigger with the two, I guess, pontoons basically made out
Outrigger,
of bamboo,
yeah. It's a
basically.
canoe with outriggers.
And I've got I think he must have been about 16 years old, and that was my dive master. And they got in between the two islands, and I know that it was right at tide change, because when they said, okay, you're going to get in the water and go down as soon as you can. And we did, and we jumped into the water, back rolled in. And by the time that we looked up, the boat was like about 20 feet away from us. And from that point on, we were cruise missiles. I have never been on a dive, maybe Komodo when they got us strung all over the place. You remember that one? When we were in Komodo on the Komodo Dancer.
Mhm.
And so I'm literally not that experienced, and it's just beating the hell out of us, trying to stay away from getting hit by bombies as we're cruise missiling down through it. And if you get over to the drop off, it does a swirl. It'll take you down and then up and then down. It's kind of like a washing machine. And about 15 minutes into the dive, I look over and the kid is looking at me, and I nod my head and he's nodding his head. And so we head over to the shore and we just abort the dive. So that's what it was. But I went there with our friend Graham Abbott,
Okay.
who he had diving for images.
Yep.
And he lives in the Ubud area. He's a Brit, expat, and he's done several different, I guess, expeditions for us. And he took us over to Nusa Penida as well. And we had much better conditions over there. And I know that PJ and Sean were there, and they actually saw the mola molas. And I've seen some of the video of it.
Well, Sean saw them. I was on shore.
Okay, Sean saw them. Yeah.
I
That's it.
got to edit his video of them. They're beautiful, huge creatures.
So
It's cold,
yeah, so
cold and deep though.
yeah, the offerings at Nusa Penida are different than other places in Bali. That's why I wanted to just mention it, even though I had not personally dived it before. It's really famous for mantas and mola molas during season. So July to October, very high likelihood you can see mola molas there. And if you don't know what mola molas are, they're really odd ocean sunfish. They're really odd looking things with the fins on top and bottom.
Well,
Yeah,
last-
it looks like a head, yes.
Yeah, David, the last time I was there, that looked like they had some kind of a water park that was established out there. And people and kids and everybody were going over there and just kind of sliding into the water, and it was kind of like a
I think that big
carnival-
platform over there. or
carnival
something.
type of.
Yeah.
um,
So, and one thing also about Nusa Penida, the water can be quite cold there. I've heard people talking about that, and it's a bit of a
Oh, yeah.
surprise when you're at the equator, and it's really, really cold water from the upwellings. And anyways, so I just want to mention that. Next, please.
Yeah,
So,
David, before you go, it's Craig. Yeah, I shouldn't scare everybody off about it. I mean, the currents are pretty vicious, but we did it, Betsy and me and our son, when he was 12, I think, and he thought it was great. You know, it's just, but you need to watch it, but it doesn't mean don't go. I mean,
I'm not saying don't go.
You just don't want to do it during tide change, especially between where I
Well,
guess basically the Indian Ocean is trying to get up into the Coral Sea or whatever it is.
No, I mean,
the
slack
Indian-
tide's the best actually, because it's still, but
Black tide, yeah.
yeah, but it changes really quickly, and it's one of the worst I've seen. It's right up there with Komodo, I think. But yeah, it's pretty
All
cool.
right. Well, good. Well, heck, since you're talking, Craig, I know y'all went to Talamban. When was that? Was it this year or last year? I can't remember.
Yeah,
You
it
want
was
to talk
just-
about
it
your
was
experience
last
a little bit?
fall. I mean, the only thing this is a great presentation, David. I hate to, I mean, interrupt and everything. You're doing such a great job.
I invited it. It's okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, we never got much past, several hundred meters north or south of our east or west of our place in Talamban there. It was just a little bit south of Talamban, not all the way to Aman. But I've never seen such an array of nudibranchs in my life, honestly. It's just we're wanting to go back again, but I got much the same experience as you. I've been there since the 90s, going there since the 90s to dive, and discovered Minjangan. That's a beautiful blue water, clear, beautiful reef there. I highly recommend. The only other thing I would say, just offer a little historical perspective. Yeah, Bali has really developed. Yeah, the traffic's gotten worse, but I can tell you when I was going there in the 80s, the old timers around there in Singapore, they go, yeah, they ruined the place now. It's no good. Don't go to Bali. It's horrible. So this was at 88, and, back then it was like, you got to go to Lombok. And anyway, people are still saying that, but it's still a wonderful place. You get past the traffic, get to a place where you're going, and it's really great. So, it's just the way it is now.
All right. Well, thanks. Yeah, we also saw a lot of unusual nudibranchs that I'd never seen before, and you'll see quite a few on my show coming up in a minute here. Thanks, Craig. Okay. So one of the reasons that diving in Bali is so good, in my opinion, it's part of the Coral Triangle. And if you're not familiar with the Coral Triangle, it is an area of the highest biodiversity in the marine ecosystem in the world. Okay, so it's the center of marine biodiversity on Earth, basically. And Bali is right down here, kind of below the word Indonesia, next to Java there. So it's included in that Coral Triangle. Next, please. So this is a little graph showing the number of coral species in the different regions. And you can see like the Caribbean is yellow. So it's only, up to maximum of 100 species of coral. Okay. But you look at the dark red there, that includes the Coral Triangle and Bali, and you're over 500 species of coral. So the diversity, there's so much more stuff than you'd ever see in other places. Next, please. So this is a similar graph or chart, but for fish. Okay. And again, fish diversity is the highest in that area right there, which includes Bali. Okay. So, you're always going to see something new. Yep. No matter how many times you go. So I have to give a plug for my driver, Gusti here. I think I'd used him on every trip except my very first trip to Bali. He's friends with a guy from Houston or from Texas that lives in Bali and has for 27 or 28 years, I think now. Dave Ben Roy is his name. So that's how I first met Gusti. It's through him. And Gusti's a super guy. The photo on the right is his family. That was taken in 2016. We went to his family's house compound, my daughters and us, and I photographed his family for him and stuff. And I had gone also in 2005 and photographed his whole extended family. His parents were still alive then. This is with my first digital camera, I think, and I went and printed the photos for him at a place in Ubud and gave them to him. And that was regular I did, because the next time I came back, like in 2006, his dad was bedridden and not doing well at that time. So anyways, he's a super nice guy, very safe, conscientious driver. If you're ever going to Bali and you want a driver, hire him. I know several of y'all have used him. I think Dennis and Scott, when y'all were there, Tammy used him before. I know other people have. Next, please. So take a picture of the screen. If you need his number, you can contact him on Facebook or what have you. But great guy, and happy to see him every time we go. Next, please. So I'm going to now share, I think it's about 13-minute video and slideshow combo. It was all the video was taken either on iPhone or GoPro, and the stills were taken with my house DSLR system. And so there's a mixture of video and stills. And it's kind of just a documentation of our trip, basically, and shows you what we did. So.
Can you hear it?
In late March 2025, my longtime dive buddy, Paul, and I made a long trip to Bali for some scuba diving. We arrived on the eve of Bali's New Year celebration. On the drive to our hotel, the streets were already being closed in preparation for the Ogo parades to be held in most villages that evening. We quickly checked into our hotel and met up with our friend Yao, whom my family hosted when she was an exchange student from Beijing almost 20 years ago. We then grabbed our cameras and headed out to the streets to watch the parades. Following the long travel and exciting evening, I felt about how this guy looked. Around midnight, we headed back to the hotel for some rest. When we woke up the next morning, it was Niepe, also known as the Day of Silence. This is the first day of the Balinese New Year and is a day reserved for self-reflection. On this day, one cannot leave their home or hotel, can't work, and can't travel. Even the international airport is closed. We started the day with a breakfast on our balcony, followed by a little yoga that felt really good after our long flights. I spent the rest of the day assembling my underwater camera and relaxing. The next morning, we got up well rested and ready to do some sightseeing, after yoga and breakfast, of course. After a few days of doing touristy stuff, Yao had to head back to Singapore for work, so we said our goodbyes and then met up with our driver and friend Gusti for the scenic 2.5-hour drive to Amit, our dive destination on Bali's northeast coast. We stayed at the Bali Dive Resort in Ahmed. We did all of our dives from shore via this little truck in the Ahmed and Talamban areas. While traveling to different dive spots, we enjoyed many unique sights. We came here to dive, so let's get to it. day, we lingered on the beach, taking in the sights, including a Balinese Hindu ceremony. We could not hang out too long because we had late afternoon appointments at the spa, one of many on the trip. The next morning, we hopped back in Goosey's car to make a few stops en route to the airport. In Bali, there is always time for more temples and more shopping. We had one last lunch overlooking the Pacific Ocean and then on to the airport for the long trip home. How do you feel about your last meal in Bali, Paul?
Sad and happy to eat it.
Okay, so that was our vacation, mostly Paul's vacation because I'm hardly in it because I took all the photos and videos. That's pretty much story of my life. Anytime I go anywhere, I take all the photos. Two things I was going to say and I can't remember one of them. Oh, so for $15 a dive, you get your private guide. Really worth the money. You know, so you don't have to wait on anybody or worry about people kicking your subject, you're photographing something or anything like that. Just, me, Paul, and the guide Kutut, who did a nice job showing us around. Had a good time with him. But any questions?
Did you do your own music?
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I was going to mention. Yeah, that's all music made on Suno, suno.com, the AI music generator that I did a program about a while back. Anyways, yeah, fun to make music, to fit your scene. Frank, you had a question?
You still need 200 underwater?
Yes.
What are you shooting video with? Same?
GoPro. Yeah, all the underwater video was a GoPro. All the land video was pretty much all on my phone. I think there may have been a couple on the parade at night that I shot with my Z6 II Nikon DSLR or mirrorless.
Now, did you use only red filter or did you have lights?
I had lights for the GoPro video. Yeah, I got two big lights. Any other questions? Any Zoomers with a question?
I
To
am
get
so
there, okay.
glad you're doing the presentation for Lunar Fins next month.
Well, I'm happy to be doing it, Javon.
Yeah, and
Your
happy
picture's
also.
awesome.
Well, thanks. Russell asked how long it took to get there.
Long
Can you
time.
put the slide back? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you put the slide back up with the driver's information on it?
The divers or the driver? The driver?
Driver.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Can you go back to the PowerPoint? Russell asked how long it took to get there. We went on frequent flyer miles, so it probably wasn't the best routing. Well, we went Houston and San Francisco to Taipei, and then we got EVA. So we were flying United to Taipei. Then we got EVA from Taipei to Bali. And from the time I left my house to the time I arrived at the hotel was a bit over 40 hours. Yeah. And so we were worn out, but we literally went in, brushed our teeth, changed shirts, and went out to the parade because we got there just in the nick of time. And we knew we were cutting it close. Since I very first ever heard about the Balinese New Year celebrations, I always wanted to go to that. But it's kind of during the rainy season or at the end of the rainy season. So I was always worried about it. But this year I said, screw it, I'm getting old. I'm going to go. So we went and it was a lot of fun. I really want to go again because it was a lot of fun. And we did the Niepi celebration, the Ugu Ugu parades in Badulu, which is our driver's village. So it's a suburb of Ubud, basically. And there were not that many tourists there. It was mostly local people. So that was, authentic experience. And it was a lot of fun. Actually, Yao, who just traveled 2 hours that day or 2.5 hours from Singapore, she was begging to go back to the hotel and go to sleep. And I'm like, no, yes, I travel 40 hours. I'm going to stay and watch this. This is fun, So anyways, it was kind of funny.
So when
Any other
exactly were
questions?
you there?
We got there, I think March 28th was the parade. And we literally landed at the airport like 3:00 and went straight to the hotel and just made it as they were closing the streets. I think next year, I already looked it up. I think it's March 19th for the New Year celebration. But anyways,
Hey,
if you ever get a
David,
chance to go to Bali for New Year's, do it. Yes.
David is correct. On the travel thing, that's one of the cool things about Bali. There's lots of ways to get there, but if you look carefully and, it just depends on your connection times, but you can get there with one stop from Houston. Basically, you can go to places like Qatar and then nonstop to Bali. You can go on Turkish to Istanbul and direct to Bali. So, I don't know how you can do a lot better than 40 hours, but you may have.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I did it on frequent flyer miles, so the tickets were free. So
Yeah,
that's
sure.
why they gave me that routing.
Craig, I think that there are probably direct flights in from Taipei. If you go EVA, you can go.
You can do
Houston
it on
directly to
EVA as
Taipei.
well.
If
Yeah.
you get direct Houston to Taipei, you
Mhm.
could do just one stop.
Yeah. You can go either way. There's several ways to do it. So other places in Indonesia, you got to get to Jakarta first, which is usually a couple of stops, and then you got to maybe make 2 other internal flights. So as far as just getting into Indonesia, that's the best place for diving.
Yep. Other questions?
You make
Okay,
me want to
well-
go.
It's a lot of fun. Go.
Hey,
All right. Thanks, everybody.
yeah, David, I want to thank you very much. I expected what we got, which was excellence. Do we have any more questions before we get on to the photo contest? Okay, I guess we're going to go to the photo contest.
Little fins in the morning light, dancing where the ocean's bright, skipping through the coral maze, tiny tails start tidal plays, a world so wide. Little baby fish, oh, swim, 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 swim. The ocean hums your quiet hymn, every wave a cradle, every tide a song, in the deep blue world where you belong. Bubble trails where secrets hide, starfish winking from the side, pebbles rolling soft and round, tiny fins they make no sound. Little baby fish, oh, swim, 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 swim. The ocean hums your quiet hymn, every wave a cradle, every tide a song,
It looks like the advanced is still a contest. All right, I guess we're probably going to shut her down now. Thank you for coming. I think it was a great program, and I want to thank everybody for your contributions tonight. Thank you very much. All right, we're off. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Sayonara.
Good night.